Well, hello, the world. Everybody. First of all, this is extremely disconcerting because I'm just staring at myself, which kind of freaks me out slightly. That's definitely changing from full screen there. I do not need to see just my face that large. God, my poor wife. I actually feel sorry for her now. So, hello everybody. Welcome to my section of Guildify. I'm here to cause trouble as always, but I will start this with two caveats. First of all, we've got a big storm in the area here, so if I judder, if I break down, if I disappear, it's probably just that I'm having a nervous breakdown. But it might be down to the storm. Shh! God damn it, woman! Don't ruin things. DJ. The second thing to add as well is that being the extremely sensible person that I am, I had both my COVID jab and my flu jab today, and my kids brought home a wonderful vomiting bug. Hey, Paul, you handsome bastard. At the beginning of this week. So it's basically, if I suddenly need to run away, it's likely to be down to that. And I feel very lightheaded and achy, so I could actually just be spilling all sorts of weird secrets. JD, how you doing, dude? But I do have, of course, the boss with me. Thank you, Nathan. I appreciate that you believe that I am the villain. It's entirely accurate. I am a psychopath, so, fuck it. No. I'm just wearing the trousers, Jay. I'm just wearing the pants, the assless chaps. It's all I ever wear. I'm not sharing the vomit bucket. I do not want it after you've had it. I'm fine, thank you. I will projectile that way. Shit Biscuit is over there. He can get it. Fuck it. He'll probably lick it up anyway. Just that sort of horrible thought. Anyway, Martha will, at some point, Martha the cat will no doubt show the world her arse because that's what she does. It's how she rolls. And I'm here to just give a little sort of update on where we are with things, what's going on, and fill you in on my latest madness, essentially. He's a big, bold, beautiful villain, big, beautiful, bold villain who occasionally does things, usually with a shirt off. I do fucking naked, mate. Seriously, there are none of my neighbours, I think, that haven't seen me naked. I don't even feel sad about it. That's how you know you're married, because I'm quite happy being naked. Or what? Because all my neighbours are in therapy. Having a dog means messes get cleaned up, free wash for the dishes. That is extremely true, Jay. I couldn't possibly comment on it. $10 if you scream and squirt. And I have no morals, really. Anyway, right, let's have a little catch up on the way things are at the moment. So, first of all, a lot of people know me primarily from the Underverse, which was obviously my very first series. So at the moment, we've got Underverse 1 to 6 is up to date. I know I'm probably saying this to people who know everything about it already and know where we're up to, but let's just start at the beginning. Ryan, you calling me beautiful, you sexy bastard. Oh, God. Keep it going. I'll start dancing soon. So the Underverse series 1 to 6 has been completely remastered. The final book that is coming out, because the reason for the remaster, so let's roll this back a bit. When I first wrote Underverse Season 1, because I'm writing it in seasons, so you have a start, a middle, and an end for a season. Okay, so Season 1 I wrote, and it was the very first thing I'd ever tried to write. I'd never tried before, let alone published. But I felt that I could improve on it. I really did feel that I could improve on it, and there were quality issues with the recordings. Volume kept going high, then low, so you'd turn it up to try and hear it better, and then Wayne would be screaming in your ear and you'd go deaf. So what I wanted to do before I started book 7 was I wanted to go back to the beginning. I wanted to read through it all and just get it all sort of really back in my head. Now, the problem with that is that when you do it, Stuart, you start to pull the whole thing. Yeah, underwear. You start to pull the whole thing apart because it's your work, and you believe intrinsically you could have done this far, far better. You're still the shit out of Baldur's Gate 3 authors. Don't know what you're talking about, mate. I couldn't possibly comment on that. I'll have to find those nipple tassels you sent me, Jay, but, won't be the first time I've danced in those. Oh, yeah. So the Underverse season, when I read through it all, I decided that what I wanted to do was spend a bit of time fixing these little issues. And then it was a case I thought, no, rather than just spending a little bit of time, a better idea would be just to do a full rewrite. Fix the issues that came up, but also put in the kind of details that I'd learned. Because I hope I've improved as an author from the very beginning to now. I could be going backwards for all I know, but they say that when you're mad, you never really know yourself. So we did this with Underverse 1 to 6. We created the omnibus editions. We created a lot of art for the omnibus editions, and we put in a little surprise at the end of it as well for those that got to that point. Most people stayed with the original editions. They broken into individual books because the omnibuses were 1 and 2 put together, 3 and 4, and 5 and 6. Now, when I told Tantor, so my contact at Tantor, about the fact that I was going to be redoing this, he agreed that there were issues with the audio signed, and it was really, they were quite happy to re-record it. Thank you, Dawn. To change it and to make sure it was done right, because they were well aware. They tried to fix the files a couple of times. It just hadn't really worked. Oh yeah, you know what? You know what she's like, Mike. She always gets in. We have a D&D game going, and Michael regularly sees this little one's butt. So we re-recorded, got the whole audio sorted out, and book 6. So if you have the original audio, which is Underverse Season 1, the first version, if you bought that audio, you own that audio.
That's the J.
Thank you, Jay, for that wonderful slap on the head. Exactly. So it was a case of if you bought it, you already own it. That should never be taken away. I won't say it can't, because we know what the world's like. Audible have sworn blind to myself and to Tantor, our publishing partners in this, that you will have access to that file forever. That is what they have sworn. Some people, and I will say that this isn't a case of people haven't known what they were doing or have been ignorant about it and just gone, oh, it's not there. Some people have lost access to the file. I know, because I was one of them. So it was a bit hard for Audible to tell me that, no, they've just made mistakes. When I'm literally one of these people. I can see the file isn't there. If you have bought the originals and you don't have access to it, what you want to do is go into your library on your phone or whatever it is, search by my name or by the title of the book. So Bright Blade, The Forgotten Faithful, the City of the Fallen, one of Fallen Souls. Can't remember the names of my own damn books. But whichever one it is, if you look for it and it isn't there, if it definitely isn't there, because remember, Audible can see the other side of it, go to Audible, tell them. They have assured us that if people have lost access to those books, they will give you the credit to get the new one. Right? Now, I can't just give you those copies. I would love to be able to, but Tantor spent like another 90-odd grand on re-recording those. It's not mine to give away, essentially. I did update the original versions, so if you bought the book, then, and I'm saying this again for Jay and for Paul, because I know they both love it, the book, that's the correct way of pronouncing it, I updated that file. If you go onto your Amazon, I don't know the exact steps, but basically if you set it to update, and to keep you updated with the text versions, then that will update the book and you will have the second edition version. That's from me. If you bought the original, you've got it there. No stress. Very, very sorry if you ever worried over the fact there's changes. The differences for Underverse through, I should be the pirate. Arr. Big love for Chrissy. She is awesome. Hey, Kyle. So the Underverse, we did change quite a bit of it. What I did is I cut out a lot of the extraneous, repeated sort of comments, the things like the notifications that were in a bit too much. I was new. I didn't really, I made some mistakes there. We cut those out entirely. And then I polished. I added some new scenes. I upgraded a lot of details. And we ended up with the books about 10% overall bigger than the originals. So I think at the moment it's about 1.6 million words is the entire Underverse Season 1, which is books 1 to 6. Now, all of the audio, except for book 6, Empire Ascendant, is out with the second edition. The 31st of this month, book 6 comes out. Book 6, first edition, is down at the moment. That's because Audible pulled the gun early, unfortunately, pulled the trigger early on it, and it's gone off. And when we've talked with Tantor, they've said basically it'll take 2 weeks to get it back up. and we'd have to take it back down anyway. So thank you, Don. So there's no point in doing that. We'll just have to accept that for 2 weeks it's just not there. So hopefully none of this, the idea of the rewrite, if I've done this right, you shouldn't be able to read it. Thank you, dude. You shouldn't be able to read it and go, that's new. That's a change. It was more of lots of little details which basically just tightened the whole story up, made it flow better, made it more immersive, I hope, and made it better. So, if you've got the originals, don't feel you need to get the new ones. If you want to, because then you've got the most up to date and it's the most accurate version because there's some changes all the way through. Brilliant. Thanks very much. Richie, you sexy bastard. Everybody loves barbecue chips. Great. If you don't feel, if you don't want to get the new versions, don't worry about it. You don't need to. If you know the original 6, you know the story still. There's some changes in Book 6, which are reflected, obviously, moving on to Book 7, but that's pretty much up to date. So Book 7 is out. Obviously, has been for quite some time. Audio has been out for quite some time as well. I think it was about July last year it came out, which has been a bit of a blur to me. A few people have asked if I have abandoned the series. I certainly haven't. I have definitely not abandoned the series. I've been doing because of the way that my mind works, I need to spend some time in the world and I need some time out of it. So I wrote Underverse, then I wrote Rise of Mankind, then I wrote Arise. Underverse, Rise of Mankind, Arise. Underverse is, I wonder who that is. That's got to be Zach. Underverse is definitely getting finished off and it will be getting started again next year. Where I'm at the moment is Arise. So Arise, books 1 and 2 have been joined today by Arise 3, Reclaimer. That's come out literally today. So that's not the audio, that's the normal book version. And so we've got the paperbacks, we've got the digitals on there. So please, if you're interested in Arise, it's out today. I can get in there. I enjoyed writing it. I enjoyed being back in the world. Now it's about 220,000 words off the top of my head, so a decent size again. Book 4, which is Arise Devourer, which if you read 3, you'll find out why, is now set for the 2nd of February. That will be coming out then. Hopefully audio for Book 1 will be coming out around that. Sorry, Book 3 will come out around that point. I don't have an exact date as yet. The way that these things work with Podium, our partners for Arise, is that they book the authors, the narrators, can't get my words together at the moment. Thank you, Richie. They book them in once they've got confirmation of the manuscript. So that's only been with them a month. So obviously it's still in time to go. Thank you, Geneva. Now, Book 4, as I say, coming out in February. My plan is that I'm going to be writing. I literally have finished it. It's gone into edits now. I'm going to write Book 5 and Book 6 and finish it all off. He is, but don't worry, Paul. You kill him through... all I'm going to say is that there's an armadillo involved and a hedgehog and an embarrassing sexual incident, which kills you both. So, Arise 5 and 6 will be written next. They will all be out next year. My intention, and I don't have exact dates for this at the moment, is going to be sort of a June and September release for the last ones. Maybe a bit earlier, maybe a bit later. It depends how things work out. But you're going to have the full series. So you will have the entire book, the entire series of Arise. Now, as soon as I'm done with that, I'm going to be moving straight on to Rise of Mankind again. So that'll be the Age of Glass, the Age of War, and the Age of Conquest. The last 3 books in the series. Yeah, well, I'm not going to ruin the surprise for you. The last 3 books in the series are going to be coming out one after the other. We're going to get the whole one, so that will be finished as well. So that'll be both series finished. Done, boom. Then I'll be on to Underverse. My intention for doing it this way is that at that point, I know, exactly, I will then sit... Fucking love you too, Zach. I will then sit and work Underverse from books 8 all the way to book 12. And that will hopefully finish the series. And then we'll call out, I think that's going to finish the story. I don't know at this stage, but that's my intention. That will basically finish the whole lot for you. So I know it sounds like it's going to be a little while, but I am going to be working damn hard on it. I'm going to get you everything as quickly as I can, but I don't want to sacrifice quality. So I'm going to be rocking on. If you're interested in Patreon, on there, book 4 is for my higher tier subscribers. They'll be finishing book 4 this Friday coming, so a week today. And then they'll be starting book 5 straight after that. Every couple of weeks, you get like 3 chapters a week, and depending on which tier you're on, you get them sort of well in advance. So, yeah, quite far in advance. With regard to the Patreon thing, I'll just quickly say as well, you know I love the whip, Zach. It's changing. My whole Patreon, 3 more books of Rise, Rise of Mankind, then straight to Wonderverse. Yep, I'll tell you more in a minute, Jenny. Patreon is changing very much. Dude, glad to hear it. Facebook user, I don't know who you are, but I love it. Please let StreamYard know who you are and we'll be able to see. I told you the cat butt would be in. I've totally lost my fucking stream thought now. Probably my stream of madness, really, beyond anything else. What was it? Patreon. So the Patreon rewards are getting entirely tweaked. We've got new stuff coming. I can't tell you what it is yet. It's going to be around this time next month. That'll be it. It'll all be updated, and obviously the stories are always going to be there, but it's the extra rewards we've been working on for the last year now. Sorry, that's the cat playing silly buggers. That stops I fucking playing with the door, doesn't it? So that'll all be getting done. Next, what else have we got? We've got Prototype. We've got Prototype, which came out recently. Now, you were right, Michael. You're always right with that one. I have PTSD from Patreon. It has been a bit of a fight trying to get everything sorted out. I'm doing good, man. I hope you are too. I know how much you've been hurting. Do I have to rebuy Underworld series physical to get the 2nd edition? How do you mean? No, if you've bought the original ones of Underverse, you should have access to it. It should have been updated. If it hasn't for whatever reason, if you go in and update your details, you'll get it. Or if you go Alex Brown on Facebook donation, nice, thanks Alex. If you look for the omnibus editions, that is exactly the same, but because it's counted as a separate file, it will be the 2nd edition. So if for whatever reason Amazon's jammed up and it's determined that the one you've got is showing as 1st edition, it won't update, look for the omnibus editions, read it on there, you'll get it all that way. And by an amazing way of working it out, if you want to read the omnibus editions, I get paid for that again. I'm not going to complain. It's Amazon's money. So, Prototype, rather. Prototype's the next one. Now, that came out about a month ago, off the top of my head. Prototype isn't out on Amazon. It's only out on Audible at the moment and on Yonder. It's something that Yonder had reached out to me. This is something a while ago. When you fucking ask nicely, you bastard. Yonder had reached out to me, and at first I was like, I don't know about this, and then they threw a load of money at me, and I said yes. But in all honesty, it was being serious about it. It was some ideas that I had that I wanted to work on that weren't appropriate to Arise, but that were nanotech based. So I ran up the Prototype story instead, much like I did Rise of Mankind. With Rise of Mankind, I wrote it in about 6 weeks because it was just like, boom, I've got these things in my head, I need to get it out. And I just went for it. And it was literally yes, now you're talking my language, Jay. And this was the same thing for Prototype. It was literally, it's a one shot, it's a standalone book. I've left the end of it available to increase, to be able to do stuff, but it's definitely a case of, at this stage, it's just a one-off story, and I hope you enjoy it. It will be coming to Amazon around this time next year. Yonder have it exclusively for 2 years. So that's the way it is, unfortunately. Audio came out. We've got control over that. So that's come out now, and it's been very popular, so I'm glad that you're all enjoying that. Richie, I see your question there. Which series would you recommend for someone starting my books? I always have trouble recommending just one because it's so good. Well, thank you very much, mate. I appreciate that. It's literally a case of, it depends on what you like. I would probably say Rise of Mankind, because that's a little bit more polished, a little bit more twisted. One point I will say, which I've stressed this a few times, thanks, Zach, and I do need to say this. I've been approached by a couple of people who have called me racist. Now, I need to lay this one out because this is something that I prefer to deal with things by sort of hitting it head on and directly addressing it. I've been called racist because I reference gypsies in the book. Now, the reason I call them gypsies, rather than I know that for some it's travellers, for some it's the Romani or the Roma. In England, we have a big horse fair every year called the Appleby Horse Fair. And I was living in the Dales for quite some time, and I also travelled down to there to work in a bar and in a hotel for several years. Now, when I went down, I interacted with the gypsy community quite heavily for that period because we were asked to go down because it was so ram-packed. It's one of the biggest horse fairs in all of Europe, so it's massive for that community. The gypsy group are the UK. That's what I was told by the UK contingent to call them. When I've asked, I've said, so I've heard it's travellers, I've heard it's Roma, I've heard it's Romani, I've heard it's gypsy, what do I call you? And most of the time I just said, I don't care what you call me, pull me a damn pint. The ones who did say it were primarily the UK based, and they were saying, well, I'm a gypsy. They would say that travellers are the wider sort of UK and European group. Roma and Romani is all overall. Whether that is true or not, I don't know. I can just tell you what I was told. Thank you, though, Zach. But the whole point is that I wrote them as gypsies because that was what I was told by the gypsy community that they prefer to be called, because it's the UK-based group that they meet. And it was just one of those things that I wrote it because, well, this is how it is. This is the group that I know. So, of course, I'm going to write it as I know. And then people started going, oh, you can't call them that. It's offensive. And I'm going, well, the group that I've talked to say it isn't. That's their preferred name. So, sorry, but it's not racist if I've been told that by the group. So, but thank you, Jay. But it is something that I prefer to get it out, to say, look, I'm not racist. I hate racists. But I hate a lot of people as well. So, but the whole point is that if people are saying something like that, I'd rather address it head on and say, look, I'm not racist. And while the gypsy group are the bad guys in the beginning of the book, you then find out further on that it's actually the arseholes who ran the group are the ones who are there, the bastards. All the normal gypsies have all moved off. And then a load of the bastards in the area have joined forces with these couple of lunatics that used to run the group. So while they've been tagged as gypsies, they're not actually, they're just dickheads. So, exactly, JD. It's the way it is, but I prefer to say it. Plans for the future. Well, we're going to get Underverse out of the way. Once Underverse is out of the way, I do have some plans, and there's going to be quite a lot. I can't say too much at this stage, and you damn well know so, Chrissy, because you keep telling me, don't spill the beans on this, and then you're deliberately teasing me by making me believe it's okay to talk. Thank you, Richie. I'm not telling any secret projects, no. Will there be a crossover between different book series? No, that's not planned at the moment, mate. There is always the chance of it just because of the way that I roll things out, but it's definitely not planned for it. Yeah, it's just teasing me. Now, I will say, guys, I'm going to jump off in like literally 2 minutes. I'm going to leave because I've ranted at you, just like fucking verbal diarrhea as always. And I do have something that I've been excited to share with you, which has been produced in partnership with our wonderful partners, Podium. And we're going to be rocking that out in just a few minutes. So you'll have to watch for it, please. Once the video is finished, please watch for it. Tell us what you think. And just, yeah, I'm very, very happy with it. Beyond that, I'm trying to think of what else. Artem. We haven't spoken about Artem. I've only got like literally a minute, so I'm going to be quick. The Artem project is a group project that I wrote with Dawn, with Kev, with Lars. So it's Dawn Chapman, it's Kev Sinclair, it's Lars Mackmuller, and don't let anybody tell you differently. Lars is Swedish. Make sure you get it right. If you ever need to talk to him, stress, it's okay, we know you're Swedish. It's fucking hilarious, drives me up the wall. It's going to be on here, Denny. I'm going to post it literally at the end of this. The Artem Project is literally 2 books that each of us have wrote, which are our stories. So book 1 and book 2, which are again, literally about our individual stories, and they're all set in a shared world. Some of the characters cross over, some of them don't. And it's just all a bit of wonderful madness. My Artem Book 1 launches on the 31st as well, so Halloween. We have literally Book 1 of Artem from myself. Love you too, Lars. We have literally Book 1 of Artem, and you have Book 6 of the 2nd edition launching there. So, yeah, it's been a good few months. I don't know when Book 2's audio is going to be coming out for myself. I believe off the top of my head it's going to be around March, but I don't have a firm date for that one yet. So there we go. Right, I am going to bugger off. I'm just going to double check and make sure. Let's have a look. Oh, a couple of questions here. Quick question. Jack statue, when is it going to be available as merchandise? Soon. Your D&D sessions with Michael, what are you playing? I am an Oathbreaker Paladin who's also learn a bit of sorcery because everybody needs a bit of fireball in their lives. The next con, can you smack me with a book? Yes, this is going to be a thing. Richie, I will smack you with a book quite happily, you kinky little bastard. Dawn, what's after the next 2 years? I don't know entirely at this point. I can't really talk about that because it's a couple of plans that I've got in place that I can't really talk about at this stage, but I'm pleased with them. We need the whole squad of statues. It's amazing what the world can come up with, Zach. Kyle? Right. Okay, everybody. He wields a sword called Fraggle Rock in D&D. It's exactly what it sounds like. It really fucking is. And it has the soul of my ex-wife, Karen, in it. So when shit's hitting the fan, D&D, I can whip out the soul of my fucking Sharon. Yep. Bishop's University totally excites. Bishop's University totally excites. Kick me off, yeah. Thank you, everybody, and good night. Bye-bye.